There is no question in my mind that Cardano holders will in the future use ADA, the proceeds of ADA, staking rewards, and Cardano project token proceeds to buy land. The only question is whether their real life land purchases or their digital land purchases will be more interesting. Ready? Let's go. This is another one of those days where we've got a bunch of different news items to talk about. So, we're going to discuss real life land purchases, the launch of the Ada Realm metaverse, the mid month IOG update, hashtag westandwithGarrick, and the expansion of the UTxO Alliance. Earlier today, Breakpool of Thailand posted this beautiful picture of a beachfront villa on Phuket that is going for less than $500,000. If you're in certain real estate markets in North America or Europe or other very developed parts of Asia and elsewhere in the world, of course, this would seem very attractive to you because in a lot of cities in the world right now, a very unattractive house can be going for much more than this. Amazingly. But so this is very attractive, of course. But a lot of people jumped in immediately. People who had experience with Thai real estate and pointed out that there were restrictions on foreigners owning real estate in Thailand. And then other people jumped in with the workarounds, suggesting that you could buy the villa and lease the land on a very long lease, or you could own up to 49%, or you could have a corporation own it for you, all these different workarounds. This is pretty common with foreigners investing in real estate in a lot of parts of the world. There are always these kind of harsh restrictions, but then there's always workarounds as well. What I thought was interesting about this is that we don't see a lot of this in the Cardano ecosystem and a lot of other ecosystems. And I think I can say this even when we were at the peak, the recent peak in the market. In a lot of other ecosystems, you see a lot of when Lambo talk. A lot of people posting pictures of exotic cars and houses and things they want to buy when the value of the cryptocurrency gets to X level. And we don't see too much of that in the Cardano ecosystem, which I think is kind of unique. I think it kind of speaks to the sort of like the personality of the community in Cardano that you don't see a lot of that when Lambo stuff. People will jokingly say because it's like a meme now, but you don't see people posting, obscure photos of obscure details of the interiors of exotic cars and discussing it in, infinite detail in the Cardano ecosystem like you do in some other blockchain ecosystems. I think that's a good thing about Cardano. But at the same time, it is interesting to think about things like this. Crypto is definitely part of this exponential phenomenon. You hear people like Raoul Pal saying that he thinks that people don't yet understand exponential growth. I think that's very true. People definitely didn't understand it with tech companies. They, of course, I think we could say 15 years ago, nobody thought that the tech giants, the valuations of the tech giants could get to the levels they could because the human brain has trouble understanding exponential growth. I think that's certainly been true of crypto as well. When I first got into crypto, all the focus was on Bitcoin, and we were all shocked when Bitcoin went over $1,000. Like I was legitimately shocked when Bitcoin skyrocketed to 1,200 at the end of 2013 during the Mount Gox craze and before the meltdown of Mount Gox. We saw the gigantic growth in ADA in Cardano, and people forget that now. I mean, it wasn't that long ago when we hit the market peak. I mean, it was just a few months ago. People now act like we've been in a 24-year bear market or something, but it wasn't that long ago. I mean, I was I was buying ADA at what now seem like unbelievably low levels, and then we skyrocketed to those peaks just a few months ago. And the multiple we did in between those is truly incredible. The something I will probably never again experience in my entire lifetime. I'll probably never again have an opportunity like that. Um, but it's been a couple months, so everybody forgets all of that, and it leads to this. We definitely have a little bit of pessimism. So I welcome this post very much from Breakpool. I think it's good to remember that there are a lot of good things that come out of the amazing exponential growth that you can see with innovative technology. And I think Cardano is at the vanguard of that. I think crypto is at the vanguard of technology. It's the most cutting edge technology out there right now, the most unbelievable. And Cardano is at the very front, the very cutting edge of crypto. So it's good to see posts like this and remember that exponential growth can create pretty incredible things. Well, that was all about real life real estate. We also saw something pretty interesting today in digital real estate. This project, Ada Realm, had their first land sale and they sold out, of course, as you'd expect. What's interesting is Ada Realm only has 1,700 followers, 1,724 followers on Twitter. So, not a huge number of people. And they still sold out of their metaverse parcels. And you can kind of navigate around in here. This was interesting. They've also got some interparcel messaging going on. Again, like Pavia. It's kind of interesting to watch these different players in the Cardano metaverse scene pop up because we're sort of seeing a standard set of features. Interparcel messaging seems to be big. Um, Integration of some kind of username seems to be big. I haven't seen Ada Handle partner with anyone yet in the metaverse world. If you want to take a peek at that map, you can find it here at adarealm.io. I know a lot of you are probably hardcore NFT snipers and you're thinking, okay, I missed the mint, but now I'll go in and try to snipe some of the most choice properties. Here's the deal. The name that is reflected here does not necessarily match the actual coordinates which you'll find in the asset tag. You can see this one is 18397. This one down here is -76, -68. Then you can come to this page, which is dungeonlooters.club/tools. Enter in the coordinates, hit find plot, and it'll give you the name of that asset as it would show up in cnft.io. And if it's actually for sale at cnft.io, a little button will pop up here that says buy at cnft.io. So that's how I've been able to sort of bridge that little gap between the coordinates and the actual name of the asset. This Ada Realm project just popped up for me today. I don't really know anything about it, so I can't say whether it's a good project, a bad project, whether they'll execute on their plans or anything like that. I have no idea. But I thought it was interesting to point out that Dungeon Looters Club page because we've seen this with Pavia as well. All of these Cardano Metaverse projects seem to have these third-party community-built tools. Like somebody took the time to just start building something that would be useful for these metaverses. I think it just goes to show how rabid and involved and active and fervent the Cardano community is, and how Cardano is really embracing this metaverse thing. I think there is something to this whole digital space idea, this whole 3D digital space idea, sort of replacing the flat 2D social media we're saddled with today, and it involving a lot more interaction, um, something that feels a lot more like a real interaction. I think making a post on Twitter and having people respond to that post is sort of a literary activity. And on an intellectual level, it's a great way. Okay, maybe not a great, maybe social media and great shouldn't be in the same sentence, but it's one way to parse ideas and have discussions. But I think there's just something a lot more real about being in a 3D space and being able to interact with other people. We'll see. Maybe it'll be just as terrible as the terrible things we see in social media. Maybe it'll be great, but I think it is going to be a slightly different way for people to interact that maybe I hope having, even if it's a fake digital avatar face in front of you of another person, what I hope is that communicating with another person in these metaverses, because there's an actual face there that's moving or movable and actually represents a person on the other side of the screen who's there live in real time with you. I hope that goes at least some tiny bit towards making people a little bit more civil in their discourse with others, but we'll see. Based on this post from Tim Harrison, I would say we have a Cardano IOG mid-month development update coming at us UTC evening time, December 17th. I'm kind of excited to see this one because I'm really excited to hear the progress of the Plutus application backend. If you're familiar with Masari and you're in the Cardano community, you probably have at least an impression that certain people, at least at Masari, are not the biggest fans of Cardano. They're not romantically in love with Cardano in any way. So it was kind of funny, it was kind of humorous when this came out. Masari employee holdings as of November 4th, 2021. And no surprise, you don't see ADA in the employee holdings of every single employee at Masari. In fact, we couldn't find ADA in the holdings of any of them except one. This character right here, Garrick Bogue. Garrick Bogue. And of course, the Cardano community latched onto this like you would expect with posts like this: "Stay strong, Garrick." We saw people immediately posting "Free Garrick." It's Ada Well, "Free Garrick." And eventually we got to the hashtag "We Stand with Garrick." I hope this sticks. I think it'll be super hilarious. I think it's very funny that I like this guy's attitude. He doesn't seem to care. He does not seem to care that he is the only ADA holder in all of Masari. Maybe he didn't even know. Maybe he won't even realize that until he starts understanding that he's the subject of this "We Stand with Garrick" hashtag. But I like to think that this guy knows he's the only one at Masari that has any interest in ADA, and he doesn't give a damn. That's the way I like to think it's going down. I guess we'll find out if Garrick ever responds to the "We Stand with Garrick" hashtag. I hope he does. And I hope he continues being the lone outlaw over there at Masari. Finally, you may be aware that Cardano is not the only unspent transaction output blockchain aside from Bitcoin. In fact, there's even a UTxO Alliance, which includes Ergo, Nexos, Topple, and now Komodo. There's actually a bunch of us. It's a pretty weird thing that Bitcoin was the first blockchain, and it was a UTxO blockchain. And then Ethereum came along with their account balance system and their global state. And because they were the first smart contract blockchain, they sort of became the standard that everybody looked to, and everything became something that looked a lot like Ethereum. I think this is sort of like the birth of a new generation, definitely, of crypto. And Cardano's not really in it alone. There's not many of us, but there's a few. But I wouldn't be surprised if we go down the road, a half decade, maybe longer, if there's sort of an elitist feel to the unspent transaction output blockchains, and account balance systems are sort of viewed as the older, more classic, aged and dated version of blockchains that can run smart contracts. I hope you had a great week and you're looking at a great weekend coming up, and I'll talk to you soon.